Good morning. Welcome back to the Jessica Ruth Knits podcast. My name is Jessica and I am your host. This is episode 36 of the podcast and today is Sunday, May 10th. It is Mother's Day, so happy Mother's Day to all of the moms out there, whether you are a biological mom, adoptive, foster, or whether you have babies in heaven. And I just want to wish everybody a happy Mother's Day. And yeah, this is a knitting podcast and I'm trying to film while both of my littles are sleeping. So we'll see how this goes. Okay. It has been quite a while since my last podcast, and I think I said that in the last podcast too. But things have changed quite a bit since I last filmed. And I will give an update at the end just in case the littles wake up. At least we'll get the knitting content over with, and then if you guys want to stick around for life updates, you can. So to anyone that is a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate you sticking with my ups and downs of filming. I hope you find something you like in this podcast. To anybody that's new, I really am glad you found me. You are very welcome here. And again, I hope you find something you like in this podcast today. So let's get started with knitting. I have one work in progress that I have been actively working on this week. So let's talk about that. I am knitting the Susaroos sweater. It is by Hohi Locatelli. It was featured in Pom Pom Quarterly magazine. And I started it maybe last week, I think. So let me show you. It's like this. It is supposed to be a long sleeve sweater, but I don't really wear long sleeve sweaters, so I just went ahead and made it short sleeve. I think I knit for like an inch under the armpits and then just did a little cuff at the top. But it's like this. It's knit in the round. I just separated for the sleeves. I'm maybe 2 inches down now from the sleeve separation. But yeah, it's so addicting. So this is mohair. I'm using Rowan Kid Silkes, and then the lace part is just fingering. You can really see it like that. I'm using 2 different reds, so I'm alternating them. So this is one skein, and then this is a different skein, and then now I'm back to the original skein. I wasn't sure. I didn't think one skein would be enough, and I didn't want to find out like 3/4 of the way through the sweater that I was going to need more because I'm trying to use stash yarn and I couldn't just go buy a second skein to match. So I thought this way I will definitely not run out, and then it looks intentional. It doesn't look like, oh, I just ran out of yarn and had to substitute a different color. Now it looks like I did it on purpose, which I did. So yeah, so this is lace in fingering weight, and then this is just plain stockinette in mohair. This is the back of it, same thing, but the back has a few short rows. So it has short rows up here, and then it has short rows right before you split for the arms, which I'm not sure why. I mean, I get having the short rows up here at the back to make it sit on your neck better, but I don't understand the short rows at the armpits. But it is what it is, and I haven't tried it on yet. There kind of was no point in trying it on until after I split for the sleeves, and then I'm waiting till I finish this lace section, and I'm about to do the mohair, and then I'll try it on and see. I wanted to be able to give it some length under the armpits so that I could really try it on and make sure that it fits. But yeah, it'll look like that, and I think I'm gonna love it. It called for a 3rd color up here. So this is a 3rd color held together with the mohair. And I kind of wish I had just done red and not a different color with mohair. I'm not sure why you couldn't have just done this. And I wouldn't have done mohair as the cuff. But it's done, it is what it is. I'm just wondering if it's going to be a little too, not scratchy, but just, I don't know, tickly maybe. But we'll see. I love it. It's such a fun knit, especially now that I have divided for the sleeves. Now it's just straight, knitting straight down. It's supposed to have a little bit of positive ease, so I think that'll be nice. This isn't the kind of sweater you want fitted, and I think it'll just be a nice sweater for like this morning. It's foggy here. I'm in California on the coast, and so it's foggy and it's kind of chilly. So I think this will be a good compromise that you could wear on mornings like this, and then if it warms up a little, you're still okay because it's pretty lightweight and it's short sleeve. So that is the Susarus pattern. I believe it's Sussurrus. It's a weird spelling, but I have everything hashtagged on my Instagram page, and so you can find me on Instagram as Jessica Ruth Knits, just like the podcast. And I've tagged hashtagged, the sweater, so you can see what everybody else is doing as well. But yeah, and the reds are just stash yarn. This, like I said, is Rowan Kid Silk Haze that I got from Jimmy Bean's Wool. So that is my only work in progress that I'm actively working on. Another work in progress that I have worked on since the last podcast, but I haven't touched, I don't know, in a couple weeks, is this scarf. So, which one's the front? Yeah, this one's the front. So this is using Mini Skeins by Canon Hand Dyed. It is their Downton Abbey collection, and it came with all of the minis, and then it came with a full skein. So I'm using, this is the full skein color I have, and then these are all of the minis. So the minis came in 2 packs, and so this was the first pack, and then the second pack starts out with a blue, and I thought it was too much of a jump to go just from the bright green. I think the next is like a dark royal blue. I thought that might look a little bit odd, so I'm doing a break of the full skein in between, and then I'll do a big chunk of all of the next minis, and then I'll just keep knitting until I use up the last of the full skein. But it's like that. I think it's gonna be really pretty. There's such gorgeous mini skeins. The fade is so fun. It just is super addicting. I based it off, I forget what the pattern was on Ravelry, but I based it off of that pattern, and I'm pretty sure in my Instagram I said what pattern I based it off of, but I didn't think I needed to buy the pattern because it's pretty simple. So I'm just, I don't know, going off that. But yeah. So I think I'll knit for like a foot with this gray color and then start the next section. So that is in there. And that is, I'm having that one in this project bag with my little gnomes and the succulents, and I love it. And the bag is by Bird Street in the UK. So those are my only whips. I have 3 finished objects. One of them I'm wearing. This is my scrappy v-neck tee. I started this last year and then I finished it in 2020. But it's all these random, if I can show you, I can't really stand up. Just mini skeins I had laying around, or extra tidbits from projects that I'd done. And then I used more of a full skein for the collar and the cuffs matches, and then the bottom band matches. But otherwise it was just random mini skeins that I had. I laid them all out so that it would make a fade. And I didn't use all the ones I had. And originally I had an orange section in it, but I hated it, so I had to rip back like 3 or 4 inches and it completely omit the orange, and then I kept going. And I'm so glad I did. At the time I really didn't want to, because I did not want to have to rip back inches of knitting, but I knew I would hate it in this sweater if I didn't. So I went ahead, I ripped back the orange. Everybody on Instagram said just do it, you'll feel much better. I'm glad I listened to you guys, because I love the finished sweater, and I'm so glad I don't have the orange in it. And I also, this is like my favorite neck. It's not too deep. It's not up here. The next one I'll show you is like a typical collar, but it comes way up here. And so I love having a little bit of a scoop neck or a little bit of a v-neck without feeling like I'm showing too much cleavage. So yeah, so my scrappy v-neck. It can be worn front or back, so you could put the v in the back, but I like the v in the front. So, but it's completely interchangeable if you want it to be. The next sweater I finished, I think since the last podcast, but definitely in 2020, is my no frills sweater. And guys, I love this one too. So this sweater is fingering weight and mohair held together. I used the same Rowan Kid Silkays that I'm using for my Susurus. And again, I'm trying to knit from stash without purchasing any more yarn. And so I don't have sweater quantities of yarn really, unless it's like I have a few worsted quantities. But I wanted, this called for fingering weight, and I definitely don't have fingering weight quantities of the same skein. And so that is why pretty much all of my projects will be alternating skeins, or they will be fades, or like this, mini skeins to just use up what I have. I have all this gorgeous yarn, and so I really want to use it without buying more, you know, just because I don't have enough to make a sweater all in one color. So this I did in blues. Again, it's the No Frills sweater by Petite Knits, and I used a DK for the collar and this, you know, all the the cuffs, but otherwise it's fingering and mohair held together. So it's like this. So there's one color, and then it fades to that color, and then it fades to another color, like that. This one I heavily modified. I put bust darts in it. I did some shaping. So this is definitely more of a fitted sweater. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can see here. Those are the bust darts that I put in, just to make it lie better on my body. But yeah, I love it. It is so cozy. I mean, it's like wearing a hug. Thatcher, my son, just turned 2, and he'll come up and he'll put it on his face and he'll be like, so soft, it's so soft. So even my 2-year-old loves it. But yeah, again, it's just stash yarn that I used. I faded it so that I could use the stash yarn. I purchased the mohair so that way it would all be cohesive. And the mohair definitely tones down the skeins and kind of makes it all just flow. But yeah, I recommend the pattern to anybody if you're interested in knitting it. It does, and I think I talked about this on my last podcast. I'm pretty sure it had some shaping, like short rows in the neck. And I think if you looked on Ravelry, a lot of people were complaining about how the pattern was difficult. I did not find it difficult. I found it very straightforward. It's probably not the best pattern for a brand new knitter, but if you've knit a sweater or two, I think you can completely understand this pattern. It's kind of one of those ones where you shouldn't overthink it. You should just take it row by row, follow the pattern, and I think the short rows were pretty explanatory. So yeah, I don't know what else there is to say about that one, other than I love it, and yeah, it's just so cozy. So okay, those are my 2 good sweaters that I finished. My sweater in progress. I feel like 2020 is going to be the year of the sweaters. Unfortunately, this next one, I don't know, it makes me very sad. So, I hadn't even cast this on last episode, and I was so proud that I cast it on. I knit it so fast, and I hate it. I hate it, like, I hate it. So I knit the Le Pouf sweater. It's by Beata. I can't say her last name. She is the gal behind Hedgehog Fibers, and it's a free one on Ravelry. It is a raglan sweater, and they have, sorry, there's something, my son got something on it. So I'm trying to pick it off. They have a cardigan and a pullover version. And I should have done the pullover version. But I thought maybe I wouldn't have enough yarn to do a pullover. And the cardigan, it's supposed to cut like right here on the side of your chest, which it does. So I thought, you're omitting all of the yarn on the front of the sweater, which is why I thought maybe I had enough yarn to do the cardigan and not the pullover. And I wouldn't have had enough yarn to do the pullover because all of my remnants are very minuscule. But, so, okay, before I show it to you, it's fingering weight held double, and the way you make so it's a faded sweater, but, okay, this sweater, when I faded it, you know, I started, or like a lot of sweaters, you are knitting with color A, and then you're going to fade to color B, so you do like one row B, and then one row A, and then one row B, and you alternate until you fade to B, and then you're all in B. This one, because it's fingering held double, you hold 2 A's double, and then you have 2 B's, but in between, instead of alternating rows of like A and B, you hold one strand of A and one strand of B together, which makes this fade so smooth. Sometimes when you do a fade, and if you do alternating rows, it just becomes obvious where you faded it, and it just looks a little stripey. I think, yeah, that kind of happened here. Okay, so you can see where I did, this was the color I was knitting with, and I was transitioning to this darker color, and so I did like one row darker color, one row previous color, one row dark color, one row previous. It might have even been 2 rows, but you get the point. But you can see how it's stripey. The rest of the sweater, there's no stripes, because it faded so well, except for that dark portion. And that kind of annoys me. Not enough to not like the sweater. But this Le Pouf sweater, because the transition, you go from a full color to a half plus this other half, it just makes it so smooth. So there's no striping, really. Okay, I'm going to show you the sweater, and then I'm going to explain why I hate it. Now, I'm going to preface it with, I love the colors, and I love the fade, but I hate the sweater. So, I'm going to show you the back, because it gives you the best view of the fade. So it starts up here with this teal, fades to the lighter teal, fades to the pink, and fades down to the purple. Okay, so that's the back, that's the fade. The sleeves are like this. So they're like this, and then they poof out at the end. Oh, I hear Thatcher. So it was super fun to knit, a super fast knit. Bug, I'm in here. In here. The front of it is like this. Hi, love bug. Come here. Do you want to talk to the iPad? And I even tried adding, these are like the snappy leather clips, to see if maybe pulling it closed in the front would help, but it doesn't help at all. So the problem with this is when I put it on, all of this fabric right here, which is supposed to just lay nicely here, it bunches up. So it's like you have all this fabric right there. And it just looks horrible. It feels horrible. It's like you can't really move because it's in the way. And it just, I don't know. I put pictures of it up on Instagram because I finished it and I was so excited to try it on, and my heart just broke because I will never wear it. It's so ill-fitting. It just makes me uncomfortable because it's fingering held double. It's so heavy. The sleeves, while they look really pretty, they just feel bulky because you have all of this extra fabric right here. Again, it's fingering held double, so it's not like it's flowy fabric. It's pretty solid. I will never wear it. And I don't know. It's been on timeout for a week or two now. I kind and I just threw it in the corner, and I didn't want to look at it, and I wanted to cast on my Susurus, so that way I had like a project I was excited about, because at this point I was so frustrated with my knitting. Oh sorry, the hamster's gonna run on its wheel. And I didn't try it on before the button band, because I thought, well, I'll put the button band on and then see how it lays. And it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't fit. And the problem is not, some people recommended that I take out the button band and I pick up fewer stitches along the back neck, but that's not the problem. The back neck is fine. If I did it again, and when I was knitting it, I thought there's a heck of a lot of back stitches at the neck. Like usually I feel like you would start here and then increase. But this one, you have a ton, like that's the back. Okay, look, that's the back collar compared to the back on this. Okay, like this. See the difference? Like this is where the back portion stops. So it's like almost double this neck one. But picking up fewer stitches along the back would not solve the fit. It's not just that it falls off my shoulders, which it does, it's that it all just bunches up right here. So I don't know. What I think I want to do, because I do love the fade, okay, but I don't like this orangey color here. And I have a bit more of the top colors because they used less yarn than down here, because down here I had more stitches, especially since the arms or the cuffs on the arms poof, it used a lot more yarn. Excuse me. I think what I'm going to do is rip it out completely and knit it all up into a no frills sweater, because I love this one. I love the fit of this one. I have a bunch of extra mohair, and I think I would just wear that a lot more often than, well, I'll never wear this. And because if I take out the sleeves, I will have this much extra yarn, well, times 2 for the 2 sleeves. See, this is the one I don't like, this orangey coppery in here. It's not that I don't like the color, I just don't like it with the fade. So that's what I think I'm gonna do, is rip it all out and redo it as a completely different sweater. But I'm not gonna even rip it out until I finish the scissors. Hey Bug, come here. He's like, what the heck are you doing, Mama? Yeah, so that's all my knitting. Give me your bed. Hold on. I'll be right back. I'm going to take him potty, and then we will be back and we will talk life updates. So if you only wanted to watch the knitting content, I thank you for sticking around. Otherwise, if you want some life updates and just to know what's going on and why I haven't podcasted in like 2-3 months, then stick around and I'll let you know. Okay, I'll be right back. Bye. Okay, we're back from our intermission. So I did find one more knitted item that I'd finished, and it's just this little baby blanket. So this is for our foster daughter, and it's the northeasterly pattern, which is a pay-for pattern on Ravelry. It's super simple. I just used a bunch of girly scraps I had, and yeah, I love it. So this is her. It's very small, but I wanted it to be more of like a stroller blanket or like a car seat blanket rather than like a big huge cover the bed blanket. So let's talk kids. Come here, bud. Do you want to come say hi? Here. You got your snacks and your water. Okay, let's put your water right here and your snacks. Do you want to say hi to the iPad? Say hi, YouTube. I know there's nobody there. That's silly. This is Thatcher. For those of you who haven't met him, Thatcher just had a birthday and turned 2. But did you turn 2? Yeah. So Thatcher is our biological son. If you've been following me for a while, you'll know that we had to do IVF to get him. And we are so thankful he's here. We love him to pieces, huh? Yeah, is that on them as yarn? Wait. Yeah, so Thatcher just had a birthday last week, and he is 2. He is completely potty trained, and what else should we tell them about you? He's talking up a storm, so he's so much fun. He's gonna be shy on camera, but yeah, okay, you're gonna eat your snacks. Okay, let's talk about Mabel. Should we talk about Mabel? Yeah, is Mabel sleeping? Mabel, yeah, she's sleeping. Yeah. That's Mabel's blankie. You're right. You want to hold it? That's so nice. Okay, so we are a foster family, and I can't remember if in the last episode we had the little baby or if we hadn't got her yet. I think right after we podcasted, I said, oh, I can podcast again in like 2 weeks. And then we got a call, and we picked up a baby from the NICU who, I can't say a lot about their cases, but she was born addicted to heroin and she needed morphine every 3 hours. She was the tiniest little, like, 5-pound baby. She was adorable. And she was with us for 2 weeks, and then she went to go live with her aunt while her parents worked on what they needed to work on. So we had her for 2 weeks, and we realized that we absolutely love fostering babies. We like babies and we like the older kids. So Thatcher just does really well with babies. He likes giving them bottles. He likes helping change their diapers. He likes just mothering them and, entertaining them with toys. So we've been doing foster care for a year now. And we've had a 16-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 1-year-old, and then we had a sibling group of a 3-year-old and twin 18-month-olds. And then we had the 5-day-old from the NICU. And so then she went back to she went to live with her aunt. And then a couple weeks later, we got a call for Mabel, the baby we have now. And her real name's not Mabel. So I'm not giving away I'm not violating HIPAA or anything. So we have Mabel now. We've had Mabel for almost 3 months. And we will probably have her for a while more before anything's decided. I can't say what's going on with Mom, but Dad's not in the picture, and Mom has a hard road ahead of her if she's gonna get Mabel back. We decided to call baby Mabel because our town is pretty small, and I asked around to other foster moms, and they say when they have little babies who don't know their names yet, they call them something else. Just because the town is so small, we don't want people finding out like, oh, Jessica has baby Mabel, and then somebody would know Mabel's mom, or somebody else might know where we live. And so, especially my husband works, he's with the sheriff's department and he works at the jail, so he knows a lot of people who are connected with a lot of our foster children's biological parents. So, that's why we changed her name. But we've had her for about 3 months now. It looks like we'll have her at least till January of next year. So, that'll be almost a year before they have to decide if they're going to remove her permanently from Mom or if Mom's going to get her back. But, yeah, I'm trying to figure out what else I can say about her. She's the most precious thing you've ever seen. What else should we say about Mabel? Yeah, is that your snacks? Yeah, she's almost 7 months. So she's just at that stage where it's super fun. She can interact with you now. She interacts with Thatcher. She just lights up when any of us come in the room. So it's so fun to see that she can come from such a broken situation, but yet hopefully still have just a well-loved start to life. Whether or not she stays here or goes back to mom or goes to another family member, it's nice to know, or like we take comfort in knowing that while she was with us, we're just like trying to funnel as much love into her as we can, so that if she needs to kind of draw from those love reserves when she leaves, that she will have plenty in her bucket to draw from. But yeah, so that is why when I said last time that I could podcast in 2 more weeks, it's more been like 3 or 4 months. Because we had 1 baby and then now we have another baby. We are still in contact and absolutely love our very first foster placement, who was a 16-year-old. She's currently back home with her family, but before the quarantine and before this whole COVID thing, she was coming to live with us on the weekend, or to stay with us on the weekends. So, yeah, I just love that our previous foster kids want to come back and visit and have relationships with us, or at least the ones that are old enough to make that decision. So, oh, did you take your glasses off? Yeah, let's put them back on. So Thatcher had eye surgery in the beginning of the year, in January, because your eyes are cross-eyed. And so now he has to wear glasses. They're not sure if he'll have to wear glasses for the rest of his life, or just while his eyes are still kind of training themselves. He's gotten a lot better about wearing glasses, just as he gets older. When he first got them back before January, yeah, I think way before January he got them, he did not want to wear them. And trying to explain to a 1.5-year-old why they have to wear glasses was impossible. So now I don't think he understands why he needs to wear them, but he just knows he needs to wear them. So don't shake it. Is that the tripod? What? Do you want to come back up here? The tripod. Is it the iPad? iPad. Can you say hi, YouTube? No? Can you say Happy Mother's Day? Yeah, happy. Yeah, what else is going on? Thatcher, what else is going on with us? Did we get chickens? We got chickens again. So we have 6 little chicks. We got them Easter weekend, so they're still pretty little. Yeah. Did you get chickens? Mama's here. So we have chickens. We're getting bees later this month. What else? Your bowl's empty, I know. We're gonna stop and we're gonna go get more snacks in a minute. Okay? Yeah, but right now we're talking to the iPad.
More snacks.
More snacks. We'll get more snacks in a minute. Yeah, so if any of you have been following, like, for a long time, you knew that we used to live in Arkansas, and we lived on a homestead, and we had all these animals and livestock. We raised our own meat and had bees, and so we had our own honey, and we had chickens for eggs and rabbits for meat, and we had turkeys and pigs and goats. We milked our goats. And then once we had Thatcher, we decided we wanted to be back near family. He's playing with the ball winder right now. We wanted to be back near family, and so we moved back home to California. We actually live on the same street as my parents, which is pretty cool. But we've been really missing all of our livestock and just having more of a self-sufficient lifestyle. So my parents, who are our landlords, let us get chickens and bees, and that is, I think, such the perfect compromise. We can't really have anything more here anyways because we're in the middle of town. But we really wanted Thatcher to grow up, you know, like interacting with the chickens and knowing this is where food comes from, and respecting the bees. And I just think it's fascinating to be able to watch the bees. So I think it'll be really fun for him to have a little bit of, don't touch the tripod.
Okay.
Yeah, the iPad is up there. It's on. yeah, so I'm super excited to just watch as the chickens grow and as we get the bees and get them installed. We worked this past weekend when my husband was off, installing like a little platform to put the bees on when they come. We brought our hives from Arkansas, so we're just waiting to get the bees to put in the hives. Okay, Buggy, you okay? So yeah, so I think that's all I have to share with you guys today. His favorite thing, well, one of his favorite things to do in here is to pretend to wind yarn. Are you winding yarn? Wind, wind, wind. He helps me when I have to wind yarn. We set up the Swift, and he gets to help wind it. Put this back on. Okay, we're gonna end this before I get too rambly about nothing. But yeah, thank you for sticking around. Thank you for watching. I think I'm gonna post on Instagram, and you guys can comment here if you want to as well. May is National Foster Care Awareness Month, and so I thought it would be fun to do like a foster care Q&A. Again, I'm not allowed to say specifics of the cases or like why Mabel's mom lost custody, but if you have questions, did you pinch your finger? You okay? Yeah. Does it hurt?
What?
Yeah, you got it pinched. If you guys have questions about what foster care looks like on our end, go ahead and leave a comment down below, or when I put the post up on Instagram, I will ask there too. So if you guys want to comment here or on Instagram, I would love to hear your questions, and then maybe we can do like a special foster care Q&A episode where if you guys are not interested in foster care at all, you can just skip that episode. But if you want to know more about what it looks like, how, just kind of like how that all works, then go ahead and leave your comments down below or your questions, and we will try to get that episode up, because I think that'd be really fun to do since May is Foster Care Awareness Month. Okay, Thatcher, do you want to say bye-bye? Come here. Can you say bye and wave? Oh. Okay, say bye-bye. Bye-bye. Can you say love you? Love you. Love you. Can you say happy knitting? Can you say happy knitting?
Happy knitting.
Happy knitting. Alright, bye guys.